Today we uncover the dramatic life of Nicolae Ceaușescu, Romania's most controversial leader. A man who rose from poverty to absolute power, ruled for 24 years, and met a shocking end on Christmas Day, 1989. This is not just the story of a dictator, it's a tale of ambition, control, fear, and ultimately revolution. Nicolae Ceaușescu was born on January 26, 1918, in the small village of Scornicești. One of 10 children in a poor peasant family, his childhood was filled with hardship. At just 11 years old, Nicolae left home to work as a shoemaker's apprentice in Bucharest. Those who knew him described him as shy, but stubbornly ambitious. By his teenage years, he joined the illegal communist youth movement, handing out pamphlets and dreaming of a different Romania, one free of monarchy and inequality. His political activities soon landed him in prison, where he met influential communist leaders. Inside the cold, damp prison cells, he learned revolutionary tactics, discipline, and how power could be seized and held. Fellow prisoners would later recall his remarkable memory and his ability to inspire loyalty even as a young man. After World War II, communists took control of Romania. Step by step, Ceaușescu climbed the ranks, becoming General Secretary of the Communist Party in 1965 and eventually President of Romania. At first, he promised reform and independence from Soviet influence. Many Romanians saw him as a hero, a leader who dared to defy Moscow. Crowds filled squares to cheer his speeches, believing a brighter future was ahead. But power changed him. Ceaușescu and his wife Elena built a massive cult of personality. Enormous portraits of the couple decorated every city. State television broadcast hours of carefully staged images showing them as Romania's saviors. Even school children were taught songs praising their names. Rumors spread that no TV cameraman dared to show Ceaușescu blinking or making mistakes. Any imperfection had to be erased. Children chosen to present flowers to him during parades were kept in isolation beforehand to make sure they didn't carry diseases. To many outsiders, it looked like admiration. To those living under it, it felt like suffocating control. As the years passed, his regime grew more authoritarian. The dreaded Securitate, his secret police, watched every conversation, every gathering, every church. Neighbors spied on neighbors. Even family members feared speaking openly. One whispered word against the leader could mean a midnight arrest and years in prison. Ceaușescu dreamed of transforming Romania into a self-sufficient industrial power. He began massive construction projects, including the colossal People's House, the largest administrative building in the world. To pay for these dreams and to erase foreign debt, he exported much of the country's food and energy. Ordinary Romanians paid the price. In the 1980s, store shelves were empty, ration cards became a way of life, and electricity was often shut off to save power. Families huddled in darkness on freezing winter nights, while state propaganda continued to praise the nation's prosperity. Despite the atmosphere of fear, acts of resistance began to surface. In 1977, miners in the Jiu Valley staged a bold strike, forcing Ceaușescu to promise reforms, a rare moment where the dictator had to back down. In 1987, factory workers in Brașov marched through the streets chanting, "Down with the dictatorship," and singing Romania's banned national anthem. These uprisings were brutally suppressed, but they planted seeds of courage that would later grow into revolution. December 1989. A small protest erupted in the city of Timișoara when authorities tried to evict a local pastor. At first, it was a handful of people, then hundreds, then thousands. When security forces opened fire, killing protesters, the news spread like wildfire. Entire cities rose up. People who had lived in silence for decades began shouting in unison, "Freedom! Down with Ceaușescu!" On December 21st, Ceaușescu attempted to give a speech in Bucharest to calm the masses. For the first time, the crowd turned against him, booing loudly. Shock spread across his face. Live on television, an image Romanians had never seen before. The next day, his control collapsed. As revolutionaries seized government buildings, Nicolae and Elena fled the capital by helicopter. They flew over a burning city, believing they could rally loyal troops. But even the army had turned against them. Forced to land near Târgoviște, they were captured by soldiers and taken to a military base. On Christmas Day, December 25, 1989, the Ceaușescus were put on trial. Accused of genocide, corruption, and destroying Romania's economy, they defended themselves angrily, insisting they were still the rightful leaders. The trial lasted less than an hour. The sentence, death. Moments later, Nicolae and Elena were led outside into a cold courtyard. Facing the firing squad, Ceaușescu began to sing the Internationale, the communist anthem, until the gunfire drowned his voice. Elena screamed at the soldiers until the very end. With their deaths, Romania's long night of dictatorship came to an abrupt and bloody end. Even today, opinions about Nicolae Ceaușescu remain divided. Some remember him as a nationalist who stood up to Moscow. Others see him as a tyrant who starved his own people. Each year, a few Romanians still visit his grave, leaving flowers in quiet remembrance while most recall the fear and darkness of his rule. Nicolae Ceaușescu's story is a reminder of how absolute power can rise from humble beginnings, and how ordinary people, united by courage, can bring down even the most powerful regimes. Thank you for watching.